Finance Minister Chris Sinclair has defended government's approach to tackling challenges facing the Barbados economy through the 2017 appropriation bill and estimates of revenue and expenditure.
We have presented estimates here. We believe that gives us a platform to do the things that we need to do, have the conversations we need to have with the public about the serious issues, to bring everything into focus, to work our deficit down even further, and to bring finally some level of sustained discipline to the public finances of Barbados.
Mr. Sinclair adds that the estimates represent only the beginning of government strategy for the economy.
Now we will separate, as they would say in Barbadian parlance, the sheep from the goat. We are going to put this is not the end, we are going to continue to put this case to the public of Barbados, and we are asking, not begging, we are saying to members of the opposition, it is time for you to speak up or shut up. Let the public know what your position is on these critical issues, because the Democratic Labour Party is going to be allowing the public to know what our position is on those issues.
The recent $10 million injection of technology into Barbados' education sector by the government of China comes with some security features. This revelation from Education Minister Ronald Jones, while stressing the technology is to be used by the schools and students. Referring to thousands of desktops and laptops and computers and tablets which will be distributed to public and registered private schools, he suggested the equipment could be tracked if stolen.
That technology is appropriately marked, appropriately coded, and we will be able to find it wherever that technology roams. Today, with the sophistication of other technologies, you can track it wherever it goes. If it leaves St. Philip and journeys to the airport, we will be able to find it.
St. James North MP Edmund Hinkson is accusing the government of having no vision for education. He believes one of the critical elements missing from government's plans for education is a focus on entrepreneurship.
We should be in a position, Mr. Chairman, where the Minister of Education has been able to come here today and say, look, the goal of my government, even at this late stage, is to make Barbados the entrepreneurial capital of the Caribbean. And my ministry sees itself as the primary product in achieving that. And that therefore from early childhood education, from primary schools, we will have as part of our curriculum a system training young people, training 4- or 5-year-olds to become entrepreneurs.
Opposition St. George South MP Dwight Sutherland has made a call for more guidance counselors in the island schools.
We ought to start there, because when you have those 7, and I use 7 as an example, those 7 deviant ones, to put them out of school, I am hearing we don't have guidance counselors. This is no destructive criticism, this is a constructive criticism. We need to invest more in guidance counselors. And once we have done that, and we're still seeing those who come out of school, we need to expand our youth service. I one who believes strongly. I have seen a number of young men gone into the youth service, and they have come out wonderful young men in this society, women also.
Mr. Sutherland adds that more needs to be done to rescue deviant children.
I one who believes that we need to expand the capacity of the youth service to take in more of the deviant children, and do not see it as a punitive measure. See it as a way to bring them back into the system as decent young men and women. Don't let it be punitive. So I one that is calling for reform in this area. Expand the youth service, I'm not saying it is that way, Honourable the member for St. Philip South. I'm not saying it is that way, but I'm saying more emphasis has to be paid, in that area of addressing deviant behavior.
Okay, we'll take a short break here and come back with more news.
Don't let your data experience slow you down. Step up to Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network, more than twice as fast as the slow network. Get more with Digicel. Digicel, the fastest 4G network in Barbados. Dial *153# to sign up to Digicel today.
So soft, thin, and 2 times more absorbent. You hardly know it's there. Carefree. Free to be you.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter. That's the move for me. Stability, prosperity. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
The generally low interest rates offered by commercial banks have resulted in some depositors turning to other financial institutions. One of the beneficiaries is Signia Financial Group, whose CEO, Paul Ashby, says they've been seeing a steady flow of depositors.
Obviously, because the commercial banks are not offering attractive interest rates, we have been attracting a good number of depositors. And what is encouraging is that we're getting some of the smaller type depositors, so customers with $5 and $10 and $15 and $20,000, and we encourage that. Traditionally at Signia, we have attracted some larger depositors, so we have depositors who have $1 million accounts and so on. But we equally encourage, and we'd be happy to help those customers who have deposits in the smaller ranges, and there more and more they're coming our direction.
The increasing popularity of bus crawls in Barbados is causing some concern for at least one local association. President of the Barbados Road Safety Association, Charmaine Rowland-Bowen, says people who attend these events often engage in unsafe practices. Sharika Griffith has that story.
Recent times, more and more promoters are opting to throw bus crawls rather than restricting their party to one venue. Patrons board buses and go from bar to bar, oftentimes consuming high quantities of alcohol. Road Safety Association President Charmaine Rowland-Bowen is taking issue with the fact that they then get behind the wheel while intoxicated.
We are having persons parking their vehicles at a location, getting into a minibus, going from bar to drink out that bar, and then they return to their drop back off by their vehicles, and they get into their vehicles and travel among us, innocent persons, law-abiding citizens that don't drink alcohol, and we need something done with that.
Mrs. Rowland-Bowen believes that breathalyzer testing and stiffer penalties for drunk drivers would discourage this practice. She also says the association has been receiving complaints from visitors that professional drivers are drinking on the job.
We have been having calls, persons telling us, they were in vehicles with taxi persons and they were under the influence. So we would need that to stop. And one way we can stop that is by having laws and legislation that will curtail that. Ban these people, they would have the possibility that they would be stopped and checked and they would desist from this practice. We don't even have to go too far, because we see it almost every day where our PSV drivers get out of vehicles and go and purchase alcohol and get back into the vehicles and drive their passengers. That shows how much they value lives.
Her calls for the introduction of breathalyzer testing has been echoed by Canadian visitor Diane Brunet. A visitor to the island, she recounted an incident where she witnessed the driver of a route taxi drinking and driving.
Well, I will say one in the ZR van, the guy was drinking rum, and I was not too impressed with that.
Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Thanks, Sharika. New student leaders have been elected at the University of the West Indies CAFL campus. This is after some controversy that has left the Barbadian Student Association crying foul. Denise Blackman has that story.
Student elections for the Guild Council have concluded at the CAFL campus, with new posts being announced for 15 positions to be held for 1 year. These range from campus housing and faculty representatives to chairpersons of national and international affairs committees. No student ran to represent the Faculty of Humanities nor to chair the Publications Committee. The new president-elect of the Guild is Jamaican Kai Bridgewater, and the vice president-elect is Trinidadian Christian Atong. We recently reported on some confusion surrounding the elections, where the Barbadian Student Association President Kareem Smith took issue with what he called unconstitutional aspects of the election process. He says according to the Guild's electoral code, students should not have been considered ineligible if they were previously disciplined by the Guild or if they had a GPA under 2.5.
People would continue to say, I'm fighting for some person who is a troublemaker. I'm fighting for some person who isn't performing well in their schoolwork. These issues, these are not the things that I'm concerned about. What I'm concerned about is that we follow the procedures that we've set out, and that persons are not allowed to become laws unto themselves, because today it might be about a GPA, but next time it might be something more serious.
However, in correspondence sent to CBC by the Guild of Students, it maintains that certain requirements which were stated on the nomination form must be met, namely that the university administration must not have taken disciplinary action against a potential candidate, and they must be in good academic standing. These comments were backed up by the Guild's returning officer, Anika Bellet, who added she has not received any official complaints regarding the electoral process. However, she says anyone with grievances can direct them to the Elections Complaints Committee, and Mr. Smith reports he has not yet made a decision on if to lodge a formal complaint, but reminds those who feel they have been slighted by the Guild that they have the right to do so. The incoming Guild will take up their duties at the start of April. Denise Blackman, CBC News.
Exhibitors for the upcoming Carifesta 13 are set to undergo some training to prepare them for the Grand Market and Shoppers Buying Mall. It's one of the key features of the multicultural event. The traditional Grand Market was redesigned as a marketplace specifically for attracting retail buyers of creative goods, services, and experiences. Chair of the Carifesta 13 Marketing Subcommittee, Andre Hoyt, says international partners are interested in what the Caribbean has to offer.
Colombia, from the US, as far as Middle East.
Nice.
So we have buyers coming from all over the world who are interested in Caribbean products, Caribbean performers, Caribbean fashion, Caribbean gourmet items, Caribbean theater. So we're bringing buyers and distributors and agents from around the world to see what we have, to make the connections, and part and parcel of that, we're putting the exhibitors in a training session in May to get them ready for marketplace, how to negotiate, how to talk about your contracts, how not to talk about contracts, ensuring that your trademarks and all those things are up to scratch.
Carifesta 13 runs from August 17th to 27th, and registration is ongoing. Artists and artisans are being encouraged to utilize the Carifesta logo.
It's important that we allow them to use the logo freely for the creation of handmade and indigenous items only. We do have a commercial opportunity for people who do it commercially, but that comes at a cost. There's a license you have to pay. I think it's up to $1,000.
So
for
this
3
is
items.
if you want to put it on T-shirts and things like
Yes,
that. But
that's
from
correct.
pottery and
But
other
for pottery
crafts.
and craft items, those who've registered, you have to show proof of your registration.
In the wake of last month's stabbing incident at the University of the West Indies, another campus has renewed efforts to ensure the safety of its students. That's the word from Hyacinth Collymore, chairperson of the Health and Safety Committee of the Samuel Jackman Prescott Polytechnic. According to her, students have generally been following the guidelines as laid out by the committee.
Yes, with the Health and Safety Committee has been just revamped given the passing of the 2012 Health and Safety at Work Act. And so we have become a lot more vigilant and a lot more proactive. And in setting out our rules and our signage for the students, we have found that they have been generally very compliant with the expectation of the Health and Safety Committee.
Noting that there have been no major acts of violence in recent times, Ms. Collymore says staff nonetheless has received training in first aid and fire safety. In addition, people entering the institution are also routinely subjected to security checks.
We scan them, we check their personal belongings to make sure that no harmful equipment is brought onto the campus or weaponry is brought onto the campus, so that we ensure that you leave here in the same state of health and wellness as when you come.
More than an expo, but an experience. That's how the organizers of this year's Man Up Expo are marketing the event, which is set to come off on June 10th and 11th at the Concord Experience. Over 8,000 patrons are expected to attend. Co-producer Alex McDonald says greater focus will be on the entrepreneurs this year.
People who have products that are new and exciting for men, or men who have products and services targeted to anywhere else. So you can bring any product. So we've seen lots of people doing jewelry, but very few jewelry for men. We have a great partner in diamonds, but we know that there are people who make jewelry now here. And we're encouraging them to say men like jewelry too. So are you making jewelry for men? This is a great place to show that off.
Other changes on the card include an expanded kids zone and a restaurant week starting June 5th. This year's Sound Off competition will also be extended.
We're going to be holding the Sound Off over two days. There's a simple reason for that, is that this year we have been overwhelmed this year by the amount of people who want to participate based on the show last year. So the first year we had, I think we had about 12 cars. Last year we had about 25 cars, and this year we're expecting 50 cars coming out. The reason is that people just like to show off their own car.
After the break, we'll take a look at stories making headlines across our region.